Today, we are examining the first and largest nonprofit hospice in the Houston, Texas area that's leading the way in hospice care. Houston Hospice, formed in 1980, is the only community-supported independent nonprofit serving Houston and 10 surrounding counties. This organization has care teams of doctors, nurses, hospice aides, social workers, chaplains, counselors, and trained volunteers that provide physical, emotional, social, and spiritual support to patients and families. Patients make an informed decision when choosing Houston Hospice to be taken care of and to be surrounded by loved ones. The philosophy of Houston Hospice is live life each day to its fullest.
It's always hard for patients and families to talk about their condition and how we can help them while we're here. But what I usually do when I first meet patients and families is ask them, introduce myself, and then I actually look at the pictures around the room to gauge what they've been through perhaps and what's important to them. And then I ask who the person is with the patient and ask what their hopes are and what their fears are so that we can help them reach those goals and address the concerns. I also ask them, what do the doctors at the hospital tell them about their condition and how they could have us help during this period of time, because this is about making sure they feel like the patient is being taken care of and that their concerns are being addressed.
In one of our most moving stories yet, we discovered that Houston Hospice End-of-Life Care focuses on quality of life and quality of care, making a major impact and touching every person that walks through their door. Their mission and attitude is very much focused on life and living out that life to its fullest. During a challenging time, each patient is cared for with attention to detail for their medical, emotional, and spiritual needs. Houston Hospice delivers care wherever a patient calls home, where they live, hospitals, nursing homes, or other long-term care facilities.
We actually go to the patient's home, whether that is a physical residence or nursing home or assisted living facility. We are in there multiple times throughout the week, multiple individuals, usually a nurse once a week, an aide once a week, and then also social support through the first weeks and months of the time on service. Really, with all of our levels of care, they work interchangeably, and patients can go through one level of care or all levels of care throughout their stay with Houston Hospice. And we work independently and collaboratively to make sure that we give you the hospice that you need. The reason I love this work, the reason that I feel drawn to this work is absolutely based on an experience that I had myself with my grandfather at our inpatient facility. It absolutely influenced me and is a inspiration for me to plow forward and give our families the same experience that I received while I was a family member at the facility.
When a patient has been given a diagnosis in which they believe their time might be limited, they are encouraged to focus not just on medical treatment, but also their quality of their life. During our visit, we encountered many touching stories of patients who are going through this process with dignity and purpose. A team of professionals not only planned medical care for each patient, but also identified their goals and then guided them on how to live out their life to the fullest. One of the most important things we learned after meeting with the Houston Hospice team is hospice care is designed to be used not just for the late stages of sickness, but in the early stages of diagnosis.
Right, even today, a couple, the person is passing away. However, they want to celebrate their love. They want to celebrate their love, and again, not so much just as a marriage, but really as a commitment to each other. So we had a little service out in the courtyard with the trees and the cool breeze and tears and rings and love, and the family was overwhelmed with joy that they got to celebrate that moment of love and aspects of the relationship they didn't get to celebrate formally otherwise. And so hospice is not just a time of waiting, it's a time of living.
Every patient receives medical, emotional, and spiritual care from a team including a physician, hospice aides, nurse, chaplain, volunteers, social workers, and a bereavement counselor. Houston Hospice approaches end-of-life care with an understanding that the patient has many emotional and spiritual needs.
All of us see not just the patient, but the patient and family as our unit of care. So we do our best to not only address the needs of the patient, but the loved ones around the patient. Emotionally, the whole end-of-life process is very, very emotional, not just probably more for the family even than it is the patient. And listening to their story, listening to what they have been through, what they fear, and most importantly, how they want the next days, weeks, months to look like. Are there people that they haven't seen that they'd like to see? Is there a bucket list that we should know about? Wishes that might be able to come true.
Houston Hospice's vision for the patient's family and loved ones is to be a beacon of hope. This generous organization provides resources in the form of emotional care, planning, spiritual care, and advice to family members. Our review found that this helps families find hope and comfort